Here's your wrestling news for February 3rd, 2026. Your headlines for today include WWE Creative reportedly furious at top star backstage, Bron Breakker goes rogue, mystery attacker's identity, and cracks within the Vision teased on Raw. WWE cuts Jey Uso's mic mid-segment, star visibly frustrated. Injury scare on Raw, ex-champion officially ruled out. 3 key reasons Triple H kept the title on Stephanie Vaquer. Real reason WWE locked in Roman Reigns vs CM Punk for WrestleMania 42. Fans divided after ex-champion comes back. What's next for Gunther after WrestleMania fallout, and more. Fans in Saudi Arabia made their voices heard during the Royal Rumble post-show segment as chants of "We want Vince" and "You f***ed up" rang out while Triple H was part of the panel discussion. The chants were clearly audible during the broadcast, briefly cutting through the post-show conversation. Triple H did not acknowledge them and remained focused on discussing the event and WWE's direction heading into WrestleMania. According to Sean Ross Sapp during a Fightful Select Q&A, there has been no significant internal reaction within WWE regarding the chants. He also clarified that sources within WWE Creative feel the product would be significantly worse if Vince McMahon were still involved. Despite Vince McMahon resigning in January 2024, references to him continue to surface in live crowds. However, from WWE management's perspective, the direction of the company remains unchanged. What did you make of the chants during the post-show? Crowd energy in the moment, or something deeper? Raw opened with a visibly frustrated Bron Breakker making his way to the ring. The former Intercontinental Champion had been attacked by a masked assailant before entering the Royal Rumble, which led to his quick elimination at the hands of Femi. Breakker stormed down to ringside, flipped over the announcer's table, and confronted Michael Cole and Corey Graves. He then grabbed a microphone and called out General Manager Adam Pearce, blaming him for what happened at the Premium Live event. Members of the Vision attempted to calm him down before Paul Heyman stepped in and took control of the situation. Heyman went after Pearce, accusing him of setting Breakker up by placing him in the number 2 entry spot. He also suggested that Pearce was lying about not knowing the identity of the masked attacker, pointing out that Pearce approved all visas for talent traveling to Saudi Arabia. Breakker doubled down, warning that he would tear the show apart if he didn't get answers. Pearce eventually walked out with security and fired back, stating that drawing number 2 was not his responsibility. He then planted seeds of doubt within the Vision, claiming he had no knowledge of the attacker, but reminding Breakker that the last masked figure turned out to be Austin Theory. Pearce escalated things further by sarcastically saying he would do Breakker a favor by allowing him to remain on the red brand despite what he called a poor Rumble performance. That comment pushed Breakker over the edge, and he charged down the ramp, nearly slipping before being interrupted by LA Knight's music. Knight emerged from the crowd wielding a steel chair, striking down Logan Paul and Austin Theory before quickly exiting through the audience. The most important part of the segment was Pearce subtly creating doubt in Breakker's mind. A growing theory suggests that Rollins and Pearce are being positioned as the obvious suspects due to their past issues with Breakker. On the surface, it makes sense as both Rollins and Pearce have had issues with Breakker before. That explanation is easy for fans to accept. However, the real twist could be that Heyman himself is behind the attack. Under this theory, the masked figure could eventually be revealed as either Finn Balor or Logan Paul, acting on Heyman's orders. The long-term goal would be to remove Breakker from the Vision, strengthen Heyman's grip on the faction, and possibly bring Balor in as a replacement. If that happens, Breakker would be positioned as a betrayed powerhouse, setting up a natural babyface turn heading into WrestleMania 42. At the same time, the Vision would evolve into a more strategic and manipulative group under Heyman's leadership. Executed properly, this storyline could shift Breakker from dominant enforcer to wronged standout, giving him emotional depth just in time for WrestleMania season. What do you think of this direction for Breakker? Should WWE turn him babyface by WrestleMania 42? Sound off in the comments below. During WWE Raw, the World Tag Team Champions Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso were shown standing in the crowd following Javon Evans' match. The broadcast cut to them as they energized the fans and shouted directly into the camera. However, when Jey first began yelling toward the camera lens, no audio was heard on the broadcast. Viewers could see him speaking, but there was complete silence. Jey then grabbed a microphone to address the crowd, but the sound still didn't come through. It wasn't until moments later, after Jimmy briefly stepped in, that the audio feed was restored. Once the issue was fixed, Jey continued speaking, referencing Roman Reigns' Royal Rumble victory and the road to WrestleMania. Although visibly annoyed at first, he quickly composed himself and carried on without letting the technical glitch derail the segment. The Usos are set to defend their World Tag Team Championships next week against Otis and Akira Tozawa, who earned their title opportunity by becoming the #1 contenders. On Raw, Michael Cole provided an update that Rey Mysterio suffered an injury during the Royal Rumble match and will be out of action. No specifics were given regarding the injury or potential return timeline. That update clarifies why Mysterio was not at ringside for Penta's match against Bronson Reed. On paper, Mysterio would have been the natural choice to support Penta, especially with the Vision known for interfering in key matches. Reed entered with backup, and as expected, the situation quickly became chaotic. Earlier in the night, Dragon Lee had been attacked by Gunther, removing another of Penta's allies. With both of his usual supporters unavailable, it was LA Knight who stepped in to even the odds. When Reed grabbed a steel chair late in the match, Knight rushed down, delivered the BFT, and escaped through the crowd. Reed was counted out, giving Penta the victory. The finish furthered Knight's ongoing issues with the Vision, but it did little to strengthen Penta's individual momentum. For much of the bout, he absorbed heavy offense and ultimately won due to outside interference. Considering how highly Paul Heyman has reportedly spoken about him, his creative direction continues to feel inconsistent from week to week. Knight, meanwhile, has carved out a clear role as a recurring threat to the Vision. His quick interventions consistently generate strong reactions. The question now is whether this storyline leads to something substantial or remains a short-term spark. What did you think of the direction for Penta and LA Knight? Let us know your thoughts. Enjoying the video? A quick like goes a long way in helping us grow and deliver more wrestling news you care about. Dominik Mysterio made his return to WWE television for the first time since suffering an injury in December, and he didn't come alone. The reigning Intercontinental and AAA Mega Champion introduced the winner of the 2026 Women's Royal Rumble, Liv Morgan. Morgan addressed the crowd and admitted she has not yet decided which champion she'll challenge at WrestleMania 42. However, she confirmed she will be appearing on SmackDown this Friday to scope out her options. She then shifted attention to the night's Women's World Championship situation, stating that a new champion would be crowned and introducing Raquel Rodriguez. Rodriguez wasted no time bringing up the obvious tension. Morgan eliminated her from the Royal Rumble. Morgan brushed it off, saying Rodriguez isn't selfish and already had a title opportunity lined up before the Rumble. That tension lingered throughout the night. Despite being told to stay backstage for Rodriguez's Philadelphia street fight against Stephanie Vaquer, Morgan eventually interfered, and it nearly cost her ally the match. Chaos unfolded as Roxanne Perez got involved and crashed through a table at ringside. Rodriguez attempted a powerbomb through another table, but Vaquer countered with a hurricanrana that sent Rodriguez through instead. A corkscrew splash sealed the win for La Primera. The match was physical and competitive, with a few awkward moments, but strong overall storytelling. It presented Rodriguez as a believable threat, highlighted cracks within the Judgment Day, and delivered a defining victory for Vaquer. After the match, Morgan attacked Vaquer and stood tall, holding the title above the fallen champion, a clear visual hint at a possible WrestleMania showdown. There are a couple of logical explanations for WWE sticking with Vaquer. One possibility is that WWE wants to pivot the WrestleMania program toward Morgan versus Vaquer. With Morgan standing over the champion, the direction feels clear. Instead of a Raquel heel turn and Morgan rivalry, the focus shifts to Morgan chasing Vaquer at the Showcase of the Immortals. Another possibility is that WWE may be planning to dismantle Judgment Day entirely. If Morgan were removed from the faction first, it would have triggered a feud with Rodriguez. However, keeping Vaquer as champion preserves multiple storyline paths while allowing faction tension to build gradually. There's also the presentation factor. While Vaquer picked up a major win, fan reaction to her new entrance theme was notably negative online, with thousands of dislikes. That response may have influenced how WWE adjusts her character presentation moving forward. With Morgan, Rodriguez, and Perez all orbiting the title picture, the coming weeks will clarify the WrestleMania direction. The key question now is whether Morgan challenges Vaquer, or if WWE has another twist planned. What direction should WWE take? Morgan versus Vaquer, a Morgan-Rodriguez split, or something completely different? Sound off in the comments below. When we reached the moment everyone was waiting for, Roman Reigns announcing his WrestleMania opponent, the choice felt predictable as Reigns selected CM Punk. We've seen Reigns versus Drew McIntyre multiple times, and McIntyre has also been heavily involved with Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu since the 3 Stages of Hell match. Given that direction, CM Punk versus Reigns was the most logical path for WrestleMania. The two megastars immediately exchanged verbal shots, and the segment quickly took on a personal tone. This was arguably Reigns' strongest promo since the My Camera, My Show contract signing ahead of his WrestleMania 38 match against Brock Lesnar. He delivered his lines with intensity, sounded fired up, and ended the segment with authority. More than titles, brands, or main event positioning, this feud feels rooted in genuine animosity. Punk matched that energy. He remains one of the best talkers in the business, fully aware of how to sell a big match. His delivery was calculated and antagonistic, pushing just enough to provoke Reigns without overplaying his hand. The verbal back and forth elevated the rivalry instantly. One of the genuine surprises of Saturday's Royal Rumble was the return of Brie Bella, who reunited with her sister Nikki Bella for a Bella Twins moment that drew a strong reaction from the crowd. On Raw, the Hall of Famers made their intentions clear, staking a claim to the Women's Tag Team Championships and declaring that they are back to chase gold as pioneers of the Women's Tag Division. According to PW Insider, Brie has signed a new contract and is now working full-time with WWE. That detail changes the conversation. What initially felt like a nostalgia appearance now appears to be part of a longer-term plan. With Nikki already active and Brie confirmed for weekly television, speculation is growing that WWE may be positioning the Bella Twins for something significant heading into WrestleMania 42. However, not all reactions have been positive. Some fans online have questioned whether WWE is leaning too heavily on Hall of Fame names instead of fully elevating rising talent within the division. There's also been criticism of the promo itself. While the reunion moment generated excitement, many felt the segment lacked intensity and energy. Despite the crowd's enthusiasm, the execution was viewed by some as underwhelming. Now the focus shifts to what comes next. Will the Bella Twins' return lead to a meaningful title program, or was this simply a short-term boost for the tag division? What do you think? Smart long-term move, or missed opportunity to spotlight new stars? Fans in the arena erupted when AJ Styles' theme music hit, only for Gunther to walk out instead and mock the man he retired Saturday night in Riyadh. The crowd immediately showered him with boos, drowning out his first attempts to speak as the ring generals soaked in the hostility. When Gunther finally began his promo, Dragon Lee stormed the ring and took the fight to the former world champion. However, a well-timed cheap shot shifted the momentum back in Gunther's favor, allowing him to lock in the sleeper and put Lee to sleep twice. The heat for Gunther was intense throughout the segment. Lee stepping up to defend his former tag partner made sense from a storyline perspective and naturally positions him for a singles clash with Gunther. A short program against a dominant heel in a high-profile spot could give Lee the opportunity to prove himself as a legitimate singles threat. While Eric and Ivar of the War Raiders awaited their opponents for a scheduled tag team match, the music of former NXT champion Oba Femi hit, and the main roster newcomer made his way to the ring. The ruler proceeded to dismantle the former World Tag Team Champions, leaving them laid out as he stood tall, a clear and emphatic statement. Having Femi overpower two physically imposing competitors like Eric and Ivar was far more impactful than seeing him dominate smaller opponents. He came across as a true force of nature, a destructive presence fans can believe in and rally behind as he bulldozes through the roster. Javon Evans faced El Grande Americano in a rematch of their previous encounter, a bout that had ended prematurely due to Evans' injury. Americano immediately targeted Evans' weakened shoulder and ribs, even driving him into the ring post just before the commercial break. Despite the damage, Evans battled back into the contest and connected with a coast-to-coast swanton kick to the head for a near fall. Interference nearly shifted the momentum as Bravo and Rayo attempted to get involved. However, the original El Grande Americano appeared and created enough of a distraction for Evans to capitalize, landing the OG cutter to secure the victory. If this tension continues, a potential mask versus mask showdown between the two El Grande Americanos could be an exciting development. That was Raw for you this week. What did you think of the show overall? Which segment stood out most to you and why? Was it the chaos around Bron Breakker, the Usos crowd moment, or something else entirely? Sound off in the comments below. Don't miss our next video coming at 5:30 p.m. Eastern with all the latest wrestling updates. Smash that bell icon and select all notifications so you're always in the loop.